All right, everybody, welcome back to the bench. So today we're going to talk about Ambi lowers, my favorite Ambi lowers, the pros and cons of everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and dig into this. Please like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. If you do want to monetarily help the channel, you can hit the join button, and that will help give us more money to review more things, buy more ammo, do more things like that. When it comes to Ambi lowers, I have a couple requirements. It does have to have an integrated Ambi mag release. Since I'm left-handed, it does have to work on this side. And it has to have the bolt catch and bolt release. So it has to have both, not just one, not just the bolt release or the bolt catch or whatever. It has to have both. As you guys see, we have a Griffin Mark II Ambi lower. Now, this is a newer offering from Griffin. I did not get this sent out for review. So if you guys are wondering, you guys can go over to Griffin Armament. There is a code Jordan10, I believe. You guys can take 10% off your order if you're not military or law enforcement. If you are military or law enforcement, go ahead and apply for their discount. I do believe you can also add a 10% off coupon. I'm not 100% sure. I could be wrong on that one. I do know Griffin Armament might pop into the comments or whatever and state that. Now, I did buy this lower. I bought this with my military discount. I ended up spending about $180 on this lower. Now, I do have industry with Griffin as of now. When I bought this, I didn't. With industry, it's significantly lower, and I can't tell you guys that price. So I apologize, but I do plan on picking another one of these up just because the prices are so good. Even if you're not using industry, you can find these around $200. If you're LE or law enforcement, it's $186 shipped. I don't know what you have to do on your FFL end to be. My good buddy Mike, he is my FFL, and he did help me get this, and I didn't have to pay a transfer fee through him. So thank you to Mike. Go check him out. Heat Holders Houston. One of the best Ambi lowers on the market, I do believe. Now, it does have a slight con, in my opinion, and I know that Griffin Armament will probably not care that I say this, or they probably will. I have no idea. I don't necessarily love the bevel on this. If you guys can see right in here, it's got a bevel, but it's not really big. Like it's got like a really large shelf right in here, and it's so chunky. It kind of does make reloads a little bit annoying. Another thing is it's relatively easy to build. It kind of comes with a lot of the stuff already in it. It does have this really big flared trigger guard. As we said, the magwell, it does look really nice. Now, it does have a large engraving on here, and honestly, almost all of them, except for one, I think has a pretty large engraving, but it's pretty nice. The Griffin Mark II is one of their newer offerings. It does have the big Griffin armament on it, so if you're into that, and then it's made in Wisconsin. So there you go. It's a really nice lower receiver. There's not really much to say. It's fit on every upper that I've put it on. Everything seemed to gauge correctly when I gauged it all out, and I'm running the Geisley SD3G trigger in here, so it's been good. The paddle is nice and big right here, especially if you're on that side and you want to drop it, and then it does have a little bit of grippy texture right here, so if you guys can see that, it's really grippy. It's very nice. It does have the vertical serrations. It's honestly, it's one of those things where you look at it, you don't pay it much attention, but when you're using it, it tends to work, and it works really well. And it's just one of the nicer parts about this little receiver that I like. It's simple, it works, it just does what it's supposed to do. My personal favorite does have to be this PWS lower receiver. Now, this is a full Ambi lower receiver. This is their Mark 1 Mod 2, if I remember correctly. Now, Brownells did send this one out for review, so go head on over to Brownells, use code BOP10. They did send out this lower receiver for me to review. I can't state that enough. It comes with the Radian safety. It comes with their trigger, which, to be honest, is not fantastic. For how much this lower receiver costs, completed with an H2 buffer, their castle nut, BCM furniture, and this trigger and this safety, it's about $560 or $580 if you're going to go spend money on it. To be honest, if you just want a completed lower receiver, that's one of the better options out there, especially if you just don't mind like a mil-spec trigger. Now, with this trigger, it's not terrible, but it's not like my cup of tea. I'm very much a trigger snob, so it's a little bit heavy. It's just one of those things. Plus, I'm not 100% sure I'm a huge fan of this grip. I'm still testing it out. I'm still trying it. I'm still kind of seeing what it is. I still think that I'm going to go with the forward control designs on here for the safety, just because I'm not a big fan of the radian either. But this lower receiver has been my personal favorite in this guy. So it comes with all this furniture. It has their PWS H2 buffer and their spring. But I did build one in another one. All right, so when we're looking at this, as you guys can see, I did get Brownells to send out a stripped one of these lower receivers. And the cool part about that is I was kind of able to build it out how I wanted to. That's what I like. The only thing I don't know if I'm still 100% sure on is the A5 buffer system. I'm still not 100% sure on that, but I'm going to show you something that I think is a little bit different with this buffer system than just the standard A5. All right, so it's a smidge dirty because I did go and shoot it a lot the other day, but this is called the SOB A5. This is from Griffin Armament. Now, I did buy this from Griffin Armament, but I used my industry discount to get this, so it wasn't that expensive for me, but for everybody else, I don't know if you're going to find that super expensive or not. But they do have this SOB system. It uses a brass weight. It's a little bit heavier. I'll show you right now on the scale. All right, so as we're looking at it, here is the standard A5 buffer system. It's sitting right here at 4.1 ounces. Go to the SOB, 4.2 ounces. So it's 0.1 ounce heavier. It's just a little heavier. It's not that much, but let's go back up to the top. All right, and as you guys can tell, I'm using the Geissele Rifle Length Super 42 systems because I just like the Super 42 springs. They're really nice. They don't have that clanging, chinging effect that you get with a lot of just the standard springs, especially the Springco and stuff like that. So these are really good springs. I do like them. I like them more in the standard carbine configuration, but they do also work really well in the rifle length configuration, which is what you will need in order to use it on the A5 system. Setting it up the way I wanted to, I'm not going to go through the whole setup right now. We're going to do that in a different video, but I was able to use my forward control designs safety. This is the safety that I love the most. It's probably my favorite safety. I run it on everything. Yes, they're expensive. Yes, the Radian is half the cost. Yes, I understand a lot more people like the Radian. That's totally fine. But the forward control systems is definitely one of my favorites, and I recommend it. That's also what made me kind of fall in love with this lower even more, is because I got one stripped and I got one complete. And to be honest, if I had to do it again, I'm going to get another stripped one. Like if I have to get another Ambi lower receiver, I would just get it stripped and I would kind of build it out the way that I wanted to build it out. It's not a problem. It's really nice. I was able to use these Geissele pins. I have my Geissele trigger in here, and it just works. And it works really well. And I completely understand everybody like knocking on PWS, but also the price point for this just stripped is like $270 or $280. So it's a bit expensive. I have seen them online for about $300 and some other places, but at Brownells, with my discount applied, that's my military discount applied at Brownells, I think it's right around $280. And again, if you have Edge, you get free shipping and you get free FFL transfers through Brownells also. So I do highly recommend you use that. I do have links over on my podcast if you guys want to go check that out. There's links to everything over there. Now, I am going to link my podcast below, and then you guys can go from there and kind of figure out where all the links are and everything in that. When it comes to the PWS, though, a lot of people don't necessarily love the cuts on here. They don't love the gaudy logo that's sitting right here. They don't love just how everything looks. Now, to me, I personally do like that. I like the Ambi magazine release being right here because it's in the same spot as my LMT, which is also on this list. But a cool part about this is it is a lot bigger. All the controls are bigger, and I like that. Now, the controls on the Griffin are really nice, but the controls on the PWS just seem to just work so much better. They're bigger, they work. Even my friend who does not like this, he's my camera guy, Chris, he did say that the controls were a lot bigger and that they did work that way. They worked better for him that way. Of course, everything on this side is the side that I use the most. I do use this to lock open the rear, or to lock open the bolt. And to be honest, I do like that being much bigger than with on the Griffin, where it is a lot smaller, especially the LMT. The LMT just looks standard and it looks a little nah. So I like this one just a smidge more than the other one. But if you wanted to save money, there's nothing wrong with the Griffin. When it comes to this magazine well, it is extremely flared. It doesn't have like that ultra thick wall. It is a lot thinner. It's very nice. It is easier to seat magazines quicker. The only magazine well that I think I've seen that's bigger than this is KE Arms on their KP15 and their KE15 billet lower. That's the only one I've seen bigger than this. This one does have the largest magazine well of them all, and it works really well, especially when it comes to like the thinner walls and being able to seat magazines in. It just works. It works well, and I like it. It's a simple lower. It's not an arm and a leg, even though it is kind of expensive. But for an Ambi lower in the price range that it's at, they're really nice. All right, so I know everybody here is going to be upset about the pins on this one. Yes, they are K&S pins. This is a Brownell's version of the Geisley. It's like the G2S trigger. It's the cheaper trigger. I think it's like 130 bucks. It comes with these really weird clips. I am going to be replacing these pins with some CMC walkable pins or something like that. I don't know what they're called, but CMC makes a set of pins that can go in there and they act like a barrel. To be honest, I haven't noticed any issues. I've probably had about 1,000 rounds on this lower receiver in this setup with this trigger, which, by the way, this trigger is very nice. It is better than the LaRue MBT trigger that I have tried in the past. This trigger being like 130 bucks definitely kind of beats out that one. But I will tell you guys, it does require the pins, whereas LaRue doesn't, so it's kind of up to you. But the feel of the trigger is much better than all the other ones. So I don't know. It's not like SSAE, but it's like SSA. Like if you're looking at like an SSA trigger, like this is definitely on par with that one. All right, so when it comes to the controls, as we noticed, the safety is kind of how I like it. I'm running the Geisley Super 42 system with an H2 in here. I am running the just standard configuration. You can get Forward Control Designs makes an enhanced release here that you can run on this side, so you can have bigger levers. I've not noticed that, but as you guys can see, it is very standard. It's small, which to be honest isn't an issue for me, but I know some people do like that. The PWS, it does have that much bigger flat there. As you guys can see, we'll side by side these. I mean, that is a much bigger bolt catch and release on the standard side than it is on the LMT, but the LMT definitely is just simple and it works. It doesn't have a lot of gaudy logos on it. It does have the LMT over here. It has all your stuff that you'll need, but it doesn't like pop out at you like the PWS one does. So that is what it is. It does have a magwell on it. As I said, these are kind of thicker walls. It does have a magwell. I would say that this magwell right here is definitely close to the PWS, but the lines right here being a little thicker, you can tell it's just kind of meant to be like beat up and kind of beat around, which is not a problem. But this one also does not include a trigger guard. You have to buy your own. So I did go with the Forward Control Designs version of the trigger guard, whereas on the PWS and the Griffin, they both come with the enhanced trigger guards kind of built into the lower receivers. And I feel like you kind of get more for your money with this than you do having to go spend all of your money on here. When it comes to the safety, LMT has their safety that comes with this, their Ambi safety. It's a 90-degree safety. All my safeties are 45-degree because that's what they should be. That's how I like it. Again, personal preference. If you guys want to make yours whatever, I don't really care. But my personal preference is definitely the Ambi safety being at 45 degrees. It's just, again, preference. But when it comes to all the controls, this one definitely, it just feels like it's there. Like it works, everything does what it's supposed to do, it's simple, but this one also costs the most. I have seen this going when you can find them at like Rooftop Defense and places like that. I have seen these going for anywhere from $300 to $350. I did get this with my buddy's dealer account, Mike. He did end up purchasing this with his dealer account, and it was a lot less expensive than that. I think I only paid like 240 bucks for this lower. So granted, to me, this wasn't I did pay for this with my own money, but I can tell you guys, I wouldn't pay full price for this Ambi lower knowing that the Griffin is out there. And I don't think I would pay full price for this knowing that the Griffin is out there either. As much as I love this and the aesthetics work, and it just works for me, and it feels good, and all the controls are large. The Griffin definitely feels like the best overall value that you can get for an Ambi lower. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be a little bit upset about that, but it really is so much better. And I do like that lower probably the best. It's worked on every single upper I have. It works with the BRN 180, which none of these other lowers will work with the BRN 180. This is the only one that does. It just feels like they put a lot of thought into it, and it works. The whole history behind the Griffin ADM deal, apparently the ADM and the Griffin are extremely similar. Griffin apparently did design and make these lowers, and I guess they went into some sort of thing with ADM in order to get them out. I think it was ADM. I might be wrong on the lower manufacturer, but there's another lower out there that looks just like this, and it costs twice the amount. They went into kind of manufacturing with that, and apparently Griffin designs it and makes it, but that other company also like gets them and puts their logos on them and does stuff like that, and apparently they're twice the cost, and I forever stayed away from that. But when Griffin came out with the Mark II Ambi lower, it's probably the most affordable lower that you can get your hands on. It does have larger controls except for down here with the bolt catch, and it just has everything kind of just feels a little bit bigger, and it works really well. So if you guys are out there and you're wondering what my personal choice would be, it's a really hard decision to make for me between this and the PWS. I love the PWS and I love this. Both of these work really well. If you guys are out there and you really, really want one, and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, and you just want to go down the rabbit hole a little bit, or you just want an Ambi lower because you're left-handed and you want to be able to do certain things, definitely pick this one up. The Griffin Ambi lower is one of the best values, especially if you have military or law enforcement. You can do that. And or if you own a two-way company, you guys are more than welcome to go get your industry discounts through them and be able to pick one up too. So I highly recommend, if you're out there, I do recommend the Griffin. Checks all those boxes. It works really well. It's just one of those things that's nice. Now, there's only one other caveat before we leave. As you guys can tell right here, you rock this up and down. So this one up here would be your bolt release. It's just normal. It's just like on the other side where you just kind of rock your mag in and you push right here. With the Griffin, I never skipped a beat with this, especially on my 11.5. You rock your mag in and you kind of pull down. So it's up like this and you just kind of pull it down. Now, that's not a problem for me, but I realize that there are some people out there who may not like that. That is what it is, and that's A-okay. But I like that, and it does work, and it works with the BRN 180 and a couple of other guns out there. It kind of works with like everything, so it's really nice. I got nothing else. I hope I was able to kind of give you guys my rundown of definitely what I love of all these lowers. The LMT is not my personal favorite, but it is in my collection, and I do like it. And it works really well. And I know a lot of people out there are fanboying over LMT, so that's totally fine. I'm not knocking it. It works fantastic. And I would buy another one if they did probably come down $100 in price. But the LMT is good. It works. It does what it's supposed to do. But I do feel like value is definitely added when you get to all this. If you guys are wondering where the Cerakote came from on this one, Trigger Dad did it. His Instagram handle will be down below. If you guys are wondering where this Cerakote came from, it's not Cerakote. These are B5 systems, and I just bought them when they were on sale at Brownells. So, and I personally bought them. So, huge shout out to Brownells. Go head on over there. Use code BOP10. I hope you guys like the content. Please like and subscribe. There's definitely going to be more. I'm sorry I've been inconsistent on the uploads. I will be off for a couple of weeks, but I will still be putting some stuff out, and I hope you guys enjoy that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, be a hoodlum. A little gassy. Can's hotter than fuck though. Dead Air Sandman K on a 20-inch. Pretty fun.